Askreddit. What is something super important that is on the verge of happening? Last week, a Pakistani-based terrorist blew up a bus, killing 41 Indian soldiers in the disputed territory of Kashmir. India blamed Pakistan for the attack and swore revenge. Pakistan had replied saying that India takes revenge, they will retaliate. Yesterday, a group of Indian fighter jets crossed into Pakistani airspace, conducted an airstrike on the terrorist camp in Pakistani territory. If true, this could start an Indian-Pakistani war, where both countries are nuclear powers. Update: looks like the verge of happening actually happened. Pakistan shot down 2 Indian fighter jets and captured one of the pilots. India has also apparently shot down a Pakistani fighter jet. Scary advancements in technology. People can create videos or images of you doing whatever they want. People can already do this through Photoshop, but it's advancing more and more. Also, Adobe was going to launch a app where you record yourself saying a few sentences, then you type whatever you want to hear, and it'll say it in your voice perfectly. Adobe decided not to release to the public though. These two alone could convict someone of murder. Also, robot revolution and crazy shit like that. Malaria vaccine. There are dozens of promising candidates in early trials right now, and hopefully at least one will be highly effective and affordable. This will be not only a huge game changer for eliminating malaria and improving the lives of hundreds of millions of people, but it will also mark a huge scientific success as the first vaccine against a complicated parasitic organism. Hopefully we will gain key insights from this process to be able to develop new vaccines for other complex organisms, such as HIV, TB, and influenza. Also, if you are an anti-vaxxer, F you. I feel like something big is going to happen regarding antibiotic resistance. We'll start to really see the effects of the problem within the next few years. It's already happening. It's a massive problem for us already, and the infectious disease team at my hospital is permanently run off their feet trying to deal with multi-resistant organisms. Part of the problem is that we haven't really invented a new class of antibiotic in the last few decades, though I believe there is one in the works, and because time from deployment to resistance is getting shorter and shorter, it is now 1 year between a new antibiotic coming out and resistance to it appearing. Pharmaceutical companies don't want to invest in new antibiotics because they're rendered useless and therefore not profitable so quickly. But we need this kind of research now more than ever. If something doesn't change in the next 10 to 20 years, we are going to end up back at a point where a simple pneumonia will have a high probability of killing a healthy young adult. For some positivity, we are on the verge of having a net positive increase in trees rather than decrease. Apparently we're already at or near a net zero. Doesn't mean you should stop caring though. The first human corneas have been 3D printed by scientists. They cannot be used for human eyes yet, but in the future, the technique could be used to ensure an unlimited supply of corneas required for cornea transplants. Was about to happen but now has. Number 3 in the Catholic Church worldwide is spending his first night behind bars for child sex offenses. SpaceX is launching the first test flight of their new manned capsule this weekend. When they launch, it will be the first human-rated flight to launch on US soil since the end of the space shuttle. The launch of the James Webb Space Telescope. It will bring us a new notion to space and reality. Children dressing up for their homecoming dance and the theme is 2000s. Brexit. Not the vote, but the actual action of Britain leaving the EU. The deadline is on March 29th and there is currently no plan to solve the trade issues and border disputes that were solved by Britain being in the EU. As Wi-Fi covers more and more of the country, phone companies will lose their ability to charge exorbitant prices because telephony will be available everywhere. Magic Jack will be all you need, all calls and texts running through the internet. Making organs from stem cells. Hurry up already, science. I need a kidney. Breakthroughs in graphene cells and batteries. Right now we are stuck with lithium because graphene doesn't store large capacities of power very long, but once we are through that hurdle, it'll be no exaggeration to say you'll have smartphones that charge from 0 to full in a matter of seconds. Electric cars which will almost never have to stop for charge because the charge pads on roads will keep them topped off. And in general the stagnation of high-end tech will end since for a lot of things like processors, the main thing currently holding us back is the amount of energy they can draw. I live in developing country. The glut of fake news wreaks havoc in day-to-day life wherein not so educated people are not at all able to differentiate them, and they treat WhatsApp forwards as absolute truth. These fake news are impacting people on sensitive issues such as religion. If not controlled, these would have devastating consequences. Fusion energy. Every week a new result comes out where the plasma has been kept stable longer, at higher temperature, etc. With the international collaboration on building first prototypes of positive net energy fusion reactors, we will change the world overnight. Free energy, very little pollution, basically forever. Within a decade or so there will be an explosion in the number of people in their 50s and 60s that require a place in a residential nursing care home. If you look at the age of the population in care homes at present, they are mostly very elderly people that in their youth and middle age had active jobs or lived active lives without even really trying. They walked to the store, walked to work or cycled, and the housewives were active in their day-to-day activities, not to mention the amount of people in manual labor. They also ate fairly healthy diets and in the main were not obese. Today many people sit at a desk all day and eat rubbish. The vast majority do not keep themselves active or do any kind of resistance and cardio workouts to balance that. Obesity rates are such that we have people in their mid-40s that find it difficult to mobilize themselves and have pain when walking or getting out of a chair. I was speaking to an orthopedic surgeon a while ago about this issue, connected to my work, and his view was that a lot of people are focusing on diabetes as the ticking time bomb health-wise when in reality the amount of health and mobility issues caused by obesity will hit just as hard. So within a decade or two we will see the youngest population ever requiring nursing care due to immobility. A financial bubble on student loans that'll lead to a recession and a complete restructuring of the way student loans are given out. A large number of Americans are falling behind on their subprime car loans, which could lead to another 08 economic collapse. We are in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution, automation. This revolution will basically see the near complete removal of human muscle from most of the economy. Trades, professions, services, and knowledge work should be okay, but manufacturing jobs will be hit hard. We are going to have to figure out what to do with a significant portion of the population that can no longer find productive work. Fully self-driving cars. They will be a huge convenience and ease traffic congestion, but will put millions of people out of work. It'll be another decade or two. Mass middle class bankruptcy with baby boomers' end-of-life medical bills. There are 76 million baby boomers. The average US end-of-life medical care is usually above $200,000. Fuck, just going to the ER is like 10k as soon as you walk in. 76 million x 200k equals USA financially nuking itself. I can promise for-profit private health insurance companies are not going to pay for any of it. Privacy is disappearing, and there's little to no way to save it. Cameras, sensors, etc. are everywhere, and software is mining the data for information on us. The software is ever improving, and the sensor coverage is ever increasing. The star Betelgeuse is likely to go supernova during this century. To understand how important this is, it will be the first Milky Way supernova since 1861, and by far the brightest supernova in recorded human history. Betelgeuse is very close by, a supergiant, 1000x the sun, and already one of the brightest stars in the night sky. When it explodes it's likely going to be brighter than the full moon for many months, visible even during daytime. Between 1993 and 2009 it got 16% smaller, collapsing at a rate of 213 m/s, and the rate is increasing. We are about to break the threshold to even be able to mitigate an exponentially growing global climate catastrophe, let alone prevent it. It may lead to human extinction within just a few decades. The plummeting of the Chinese labor market. China produces all things for the entire Western world. Due to the one-child policy, China has begun to put older people on pensions, From before that policy, the workforce is rapidly changing generations. There is not enough workforce available in the entire country of China and all neighboring countries of China. There is a huge shortage of people being able to work in the production halls of the world. This will have huge unknown effects upon the world as we know it today. It is like climate, only with a factor of 10.000, and it will happen between right now and 10 years after.